Okay, we're looking at the Unit 20 grammar presentation, which is on page 343. The first explanation is about reducing adverb clauses of time to adverb phrases. This is something you can do when you've got subject the same in both clauses and you've got a verb to be, form of the verb to be. So when I say, while they were in Italy, they had trouble, I can take out this pronoun and were, and I can say, while in Italy, they had trouble. However, I cannot do this if I have two different subjects. While I was in Italy, they had trouble, then I can't do it. But here's another sentence where I can do it, where I've got I in the subordinate clause and I in the main clause, and I've got a verb to be. So the subjects are the same. I have the verb to be. I can take out the subject and the verb to be. And then when traveling, I keep a journal. However, here again, if the subjects are different, I cannot do it. Okay, here we are changing adverb clauses of time to adverb phrases. In this case, I can take out the verb even if there is no form of the verb to be. Before we left, we visited Rome. I can take out the we left and I can use a gerund, the ing form. Before leaving, we visited Rome. But here, if the subjects are different, I cannot do it. Okay, after they had investigated, the police identified the killers. Here, with after, I can use the gerund. After investigating, the police identified the killers. Or I can do this, after having investigated, the police identified the killers. This is emphasizing that this happened first and then the other thing happened. But of course I know here that it happened first too. This just makes it more strong and obvious that this was the first thing that happened. Okay. When they heard Reg speak, many Italians were moved. Here I can take the they and the heard and put in the gerund because Italians and they are the same people, even though the words are different here. They refer to the same people. So the rule applies that I can do the adverb phrase. So when hearing Reg speak, many Italians were moved. Or you could use on or upon instead. Upon hearing Reg speak, or on hearing Reg speak, many Italians were moved. Okay, now this is changing adverb clauses of time to adverbial phrases. Adverbial as opposed to adverb phrases. We're using the term adverb phrase when you still have the subordinator here. You still have the subordinator to begin the adverb clause is still here in the adverb phrase. However, sometimes, for example, with adverb clauses of time, you can take out even the subordinator, and then we call it an adverbial phrase. So while they waited at the hospital, they were deeply troubled. Here I'm going to take out the while and they and waited, and I'm going to put in the gerund and say, waiting at the hospital, they were deeply troubled. When they heard the news, I'm taking the whole thing out here and putting in this gerund. Hearing the news, they decided what to do. Okay, and here are examples of changing adverb clauses of reason to adverbial phrases. As he saw the guns, he chose to flee. I'm going to take out the subordinator and the subject, and I'm going to change the verb to the gerund, and I get seeing the guns, he chose to flee. Because they were unable to catch him, the pursuers fired several shots. I'm going to take all this out and I'm going to say being unable to catch him. The same way as here, the saw turned into seeing, the were is turning into being. Being unable to catch him, the pursuers fired several shots. And actually, I can even take out the being and say, unable to catch him, the pursuers fired several shots. Because I've been to Bari, I hope to return. Having been to Bari, I hope to return. Because I'd been to Bari, I hoped to return. Here it is in the past. Okay, I can use the same adverbial phrase here with the gerund, but here I stay in the past tense because this was in the past tense. Having been to Bari, I hoped to return. Since they were accused by the police, they had to appear in court. Since here means because, and I'm going to take out the subordinator and the subject and the verb. Accused by the police, they had to appear in court.